and welcome to the third and sixth week of our island stroll Cal. I'm Tess from Sisters in Stitch, and together with the amazing team of yarn and colors, we have teamed up to give you these two gorgeous projects where you make either a pillow or a blanket depending on what yarn you are using. And this week it's a little bit special because we are using 2 weeks to make 5 or 4 squares in total. So if you are doing the pillow, you will do 2 squares of the Thumbelinas this week and 3 squares on week 6. And if you're doing the blanket, you are doing 2 squares this week and 2 squares week 6, okay? So we keep it nice and slow, and you can of course do them in what order you want to. If you want to do like halfway through the square this week 3 and then do the rest for all of them week 6, that's fine too. Simply have fun with it and make sure that you end up with the right amount of squares in the end, okay? So to make this square, this very exact one, in all the same colors, you will be using must-have yarns from Yarn and Colors in 5 colors this week. So we have mustard, old pink, pearl, cream and limestone. And with it we have a 3mm hook, a scissor and a darning needle, of course. But if you are making the blanket, look at this one, it's gorgeous. We are not using the old pink for round number 13, but instead we are using ecru, which is this gorgeous calm oatmeal kind of color, grayish oats. I don't know, it's just amazing. So yeah, and as you can tell, there are quite a size difference between these two projects. The pillow square, when finished, will measure 12.5 by 12.5 centimeters unblocked, whereas the blanket version will measure 22 to 23 centimeters unblocked. This is a non-blocking project, meaning that you don't have to block your finished pieces. They will block themselves out. They will stretch themselves out when you put everything together, okay? And if you're making one of the 2 other colorways, Walk in the Woods, as you see here, or Stroll in the Sea, you will find all the color changes and info on the little divider notes that are placed in between the rounds, okay? So look at those or in the written pattern to follow along in your colors. And as always with us here at Sisters in Stitch, we are using US terminology throughout, and you can find all the abbreviations, all the techniques, everything described in the stitch guide that can be found on our homepage at sistersinstitch.com. Let's begin! So we start off by making a magic circle, and you can of course use a chain start too if you want to, but I think this gives the neatest start, so, and closing. So I'm using this method. So into the magic circle we are making 8 single crochets, and I start with the standing one, so I just dive right in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And now we are not closing this completely, but we are closing it a little bit. I will show you what I mean with a little bit. But just pull the thread down and just close like this. So you still can reach into the circle, okay? And close with the slip stitch to the first stitch. Like that. So we still have ourselves some workspace here, because now we are doing spike stitch for round number 2. So now it's time to do a spike stitch, and it's exactly the same as a normal stitch, but you are working over the existing round back into the center, meaning that you get a taller, fuller stitch, and it gives the most amazing texture. So just go with me and you'll see what I mean. So I chain 1 simply for the height. This is not a stitch, this is just a height helper. And then we are doing 16 spike single crochets into here, okay? So just follow along, you just do it as you would a normal single crochet and finish like that. So keep it loose but not too loose, tight but not too tight. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and about here, we are halfway through. I will just scooch them to the side a bit because I want to make sure that we have the remaining 8 space to work, okay? So I'm just scooching them over so they are exactly halfway. And then I continue. So 9, 10, 11, 12, keep moving around, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Like that. Just get that to the back. And now just double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. That is correct. So now we can close this. So we just pull tight. I pull quite rough on the end, and then we will sew it so this will become shut, okay? So that is what we will do when we fasten off our ends. So I will just snip the yarn and show you how to do it, okay? So when I'm about to fasten off the first rounds, I always start with the working end because this will decide the tension of the rest of our work. So I will keep pulling on this a little bit to see how much it will close without me sewing. And now we have a tiny little hole there, but we will decrease it even more by going in through some stitches and pulling. Can you tell? I go 0.5 centimeter, I think, per time. Not that it matters that particular, but that is how I do it. And then I just go back a little to secure it. And then I keep on moving forward all the way around. And it doesn't matter if it's quite a lot of yarn here, because this is a yarn dense piece, so it will not be shown, okay? And now it's almost invisible. So for the working end, we are doing an invisible join to the second stitch, and make sure that you have all your 16 stitches and that this in fact is your first stitch and not the chain stitch, okay? I have shaped mine. This is my first and this is my second. So I'm going through the front and back loop, or as you say, through the stitch. There we go. Of the second, covering, you see we are covering the first, and then I go back through the back loop and third loop placed behind of our last stitch, and just pull. You see, it's totally invisible. I love this one. This technique was a game changer for me. And then I just ever so slightly fastening this off on the back side. And in contrast to our starting end, I will not be using this one to tighten the circle because I want it to lay perfectly fine on top here. So that's all that you do for round 1 and 2. Meet me up for round number 3. So to begin, you start in any spike single crochet from the previous round and make a standing single crochet. Like that. And then we chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skipping the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and into the third we make another single crochet. Like that. So this is the space where we now will place our gorgeous little cutie petal. So we are going to turn our work so we have the back facing us, keeping the needle in your hand just as you have it. Then we yarn over and work 8 half double crochets around the chain 3 space, okay? So simply go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Like that. Now you have a little cute fan. So you turn your work again back to the front, putting the working tail behind your work, and into the second skipped single crochet. This is the first one, this is the second one. You will make a single crochet. So simply fold your petal down and go into that one that is closest to the last single crochet that we made, and then make a single crochet, a tight one. So the petals should be folding. Do you see? It's giving that beautiful little C shape. And that is the repeat. So we are doing it once more here. We are chaining 3, so 1, 2, and 3. Skipping 2 stitches. The first one now holds a stitch, and then you skip the next one that is empty, and then you go into the third one after that. So a single crochet. And then you turn your work back, because now we are working our second petal, and do 8 half double crochets around that chain space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then we turn our work back to the front facing, keeping the working tail to the back. And then in the skipped empty single crochet, the second one, do a single crochet. Making sure that the yarn doesn't tangle there. And tighten. So now you have 2 cutie petals, like that. We are chaining 3, so 1, 2, and 3. We are skipping 2, 1 and 2. The first one already holding a stitch, and into the third we make a single crochet. And then we turn our work and work 8 half double crochets around it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. There we go. So you have 8 half double crochets around the chain 3 space. You turn it back to the front, keeping the working yarn to the back, and finding that unworked single crochet, folding your petal back, and do a single crochet into that one, tight, like that. It's so cute. So what you do now is simply repeating this all the way around. So do that until petal 7, and then we do the 8th one together, because it's a little bit different, okay? So go ahead and do 4 more, and then meet me up here. Have fun! So there we go. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 little petals. And now we have our 8 to make. And it looks like we are out of stitches, right? We are not. We still can work and slip stitch into this first one. So that is exactly what we will do. So simply chain 3, and then make a slip stitch into the first single crochet of the round, like that, and turn and make 8 half double crochets around that last one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then we turn our work back. Boop. So here, if you see, this is the first petal. You have the single crochet here, and you have the half double crochets of the first petal there. So if you just scooch them aside, you can see the start of the chain space there. That is where I mean with the base of the petal. So just go in there and make a little slip stitch, like that. And then you can fasten off your ends on the back. Super cute. Absolutely adorable. And now we are creating spaces for our next round of petals to go in. So we simply flip our flower around. And can you tell these little horizontal bars that are placed on the back? It's in these ones that we are placing our next stitches. And if you feel like they are a little bit tight to go into with the crochet hook, you can simply go before and just put a darning needle through it and just pull it towards you, and it will open it up so you can easily get in there with the hook. Okay, so that is a little trick that I have, that if they are a bit tight to work in, just go in with a needle, pull it towards you lightly, and then it will be easier to access. Okay, so keep your flower facing you and then tilting it upwards. So you'll find that loop that I talked about. I have gone in before and just lifted it up with a needle as I showed you. So in that one, you are making a standing single crochet and then tighten it, of course. And then you chain 3. So 1, 2, and 3. And then you skip the next one, as you can tell here. And into the next one, you will make another single crochet. Like that. And chain 3. Skipping the next one. And going into the one after that. So just keep on doing this 8 times in total, so you should have 8 chain 3 spaces with a single crochet in between. And then meet me up to close. We are still using the same yarn for the next round, so don't cut it off, okay? See you in a bit. And here we go. I now have 8 chain spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And to close this last one, I simply slip stitch into the first single crochet that we made of the round. Like that. And sometimes it can be really tricky to find these little bars that you have, especially if you're working with the darker yarn or if you are working in this must-have cotton, because it's quite tiny. So don't worry if you have to skip an extra, or if you can't find one to skip at the end, just make sure that you have 8 chain spaces and you'll be fine. It doesn't matter if they are a little bit tight, okay? Tightly placed, I mean. So just make sure that you have 8 and then you are good to go. So double check and meet me up for round number 5. For our 5th round, we are now creating some height for our leaves to rely on. So we are simply going into the chain space by making a slip stitch. And then I just chain 1 for the height, and then I do 4 half double crochets around the chain 3 space. So ignore the chain 1, it's not a stitch, it's just for height. So 1, 2, 3, and 4 half double crochets, and then we skip the single crochet, and into the next chain 3 space we work 4 half double crochets. And this is all that you do all the way around. So simply repeat 4 half double crochets in each chain 3 space, skipping the single crochet, and then meet me up to close. Okay, see you in a bit. So now we are all the way around, and you should have 32 half double crochets in total. Just double check so you have that, because otherwise the next round will be really tricky or impossible. So 32 half double crochets. Then you simply slip stitch into the first half double crochet that we made, not the chain 1 that I used for height. And that's it. So meet me up for round number 6, because now it's leaf time. So we begin with a standing single crochet into the first stitch, like that. And then we chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We are skipping the next 2 stitches, 1 and 2, and into the third we make a single crochet. Like that. A cute little loop. And then we turn our work so we have the back facing us. And now we are placing 3 single crochets around the chain 4 space. So 1, 2, and 3. And then we do 2 half double crochets, 1 and 2. Then we scooch them all over to make room for 5 double crochets. So lots of stitches here. So 1 double crochet, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Just take it 1 stitch at a time and you'll get there, okay? So we have 3 single crochets, 2 half double crochets, and 5 double crochets around the same chain 4 space. And now we turn our work back to facing us. And then in our second skipped single crochet, placed right before the one that we have a single crochet in, you simply fold the petal down and work a single crochet, a tight one, because you want the leaf to shape like that. And now we chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we're skipping 3 stitches, which the first one is holding the single crochet. So 1, 2, and 3, and into the 4th we make a single crochet. Like that. and then we turn our work to the back and we repeat. So 3 single crochets, 1, 2 and 3, 2 half double crochets, 1 and 2, and then scooch them over and work 5 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, like that. And then we turn our work back so it's facing us, and into the third skipped single crochet we do a single crochet, like that. And now you chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you skip 3 stitches, whereas the first one already holds a stitch. So 1, 2 and 3 into the 4th stitch. From where we are, make a single crochet, and then you turn and repeat again. And this is all that we do for our 11 leaves. So go ahead and work up until the very last one and meet me there so I can show you how to do that one, okay? See you in a bit. So now we have come all the way around, and we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. And we are about to do our 11th, but I can't just leave it like this. You have to just simply pop your leaves. You see, I place my finger in it and just shape it so that they all lean towards the same place. Okay, so now we can go ahead and do our 11th one. So we are chaining 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then we're skipping 2. We already have a stitch in the first one, and then the second one is the last half double crochet of the previous round, and then we do a slip stitch into that first single crochet, like that, turning and repeating as for the other leaves. 1, 2 and 3 single crochets, 2 half doubles, so 1 and 2, scooch them over and then work 5 double crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, like that. And then we turn our work and do a slip stitch into the first single crochet again, or around the petal base. I think I will place it around the petal base because I think that looks neater. And now in the pattern it says to fasten off because it is the neatest way to do it in, but you can also simply just chain 1 and then continue on slip stitching in the back here for the next round. And I think I will do that rather than cutting my yarn, okay? But that is all up to you. So either fasten off or chain 1 and wait to begin our next round. For round number 7, we are simply going to work in all the skipped half double crochets from round number 5. And here you can tell very clearly that we have a skipped half double crochet. So I go from behind and into that stitch and make a slip stitch. And if you have fastened off your thread and begin from the beginning, just go in with it with a normal slip stitch, okay? And then we are chaining 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then we find ourselves the next skipped one. Just keep on folding these petals forward and you'll find it, okay? Or use stitch markers if that is more helpful for you. So just make sure that the slip stitches are tight, and then you chain 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. And then you'll find your next skipped half double crochet and work a slip stitch in it. So go all the way around and you should have 11 chain 4 spaces and 11 slip stitches, okay? See you in a bit. So now I'm all the way around. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and this will be the 11th chain space. And what I will do is actually I will cut my yarn and close with an invisible join to the second stitch of the round, which is the first chain 1 of the 4, and then I'll hide the ends somewhere here, okay? So do that and meet me up for our squaring out start. Now we are ready to begin our squaring out sections, and it's going to be smooth sailing from here. I mean, the flower is the most labor intense part of this square, and now we're simply framing her and giving her some room to shine on, okay? So grab your next color and let's begin. So I think you might recognize this round from round number 5 because we're doing exactly the same. We are working 4 half double crochets around each chain 4 space. So simply start with the standing 1, 2, 3, and 4. And we are of course working behind the leaves, so just push them aside when you are going into the next chain space. So we're skipping the single crochet and working 4 half double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and then we skip the next stitch and work around the next chain space, all the way around until you have 44 half double crochets, okay? So do that and meet me up to close. So there we go, we have 4 half double crochets placed around each chain 4 space, and then we simply slip stitch into the first stitch of the round because we are going to carry on with the same color for round number 9. So to begin this round, we do a standing double crochet like that, followed by another double crochet around the same stitch. So you should have 2 double crochets in that first stitch. Chain 2, and then in the next stitch you make 2 double crochets, and this will be your corner divided on 2 stitches, okay? Should look like that. And then in the next 2 stitches you work 1 half double crochet. So 1 and 2, and then in the next 5 stitches you work a single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We are creating this straight line here. So now we are mirroring it. So 1 half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. 1 and 2. And then you work 2 double crochets into the next stitch. 1 and 2. And then you chain 2. And into the next stitch, you're working 2 double crochets. So this is our second corner. Like that. Looks good. And then you do a half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 2. Followed by 1 single crochet in the next 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then you do a half double crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 1 and 2. And then 2 double crochets, and so on, okay? So this is all that you do. You should do this until you have 4 corners and have met up here to close. So do that and I'll show you how to end. And there we go. Adorable. So now you should have 4 corners with straight sides in between. And that's it. So what you will do now is simply cut the yarn and fasten off with an invisible join to the second stitch, meaning the first real double crochet, okay? And then you are going to grab your contrast color because it's time for round number 10. We start off our round 10 with 2 half double crochets around the chain 2 space. So I start with my standing 1, 1 and 2, followed by a chain 2, and then 2 more half double crochets. So you should do 2 half double crochets, chain 2, 2 half double crochets around that chain 2 space. And then you skip the next stitch, and into the next 12 stitches we are working a single crochet across. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. And then we're back to the corner. So this is all that we do. We repeat 2 half double crochets, chain 2, 2 half double crochets around the chain 2 space, skip the next stitch, and then work 1 single crochet in each stitch across, which should be 12 single crochets, okay? So do that all the way around and close with an invisible join to the second stitch, and then meet me up for round number 11. And here she is. She looks absolutely adorable, and now we are going to keep on building a little bit more height here. We have 4 rounds to go. So with my cream, we start in any chain 2 space and work 2 single crochets. The first one is a standing one, so 1 and 2. Then we chain 1 and make 2 more single crochets. So 2 single crochets, chain 1, 2 single crochets. Then we skip the next stitch, which is partially hidden anyway, it's under here, and then we work 1 single crochet across the side, and it should be 15 single crochets in total. So just go ahead and do that, and then repeat the corner all the way around, and then you're done. So this is a super easy round, very calming. We're simply building some height and a calm palette for our flower to blossom on. So yeah, I should now have 15 single crochets. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Great. And now I just do 2 single crochets, chain 1, 2 single crochets, skipping the next, and 1 single crochet across. Okay? See you in a little bit. So to close this round, I simply do a slip stitch into the next stitch, because we are carrying on with the same yarn for round number 12. So since I closed my round with a slip stitch rather than an invisible join, I will start with a standing single crochet where I am, like that, and then make another single crochet in the next stitch, because now we are at where the round starts, in the corner chain 1 space. And around it we make a single crochet, chain 1, followed by a single crochet, like that. And if you find it hard to find these chain 1 spaces, just place a stitch marker in it before you continue on, okay? And now we're skipping the next stitch, and then work a single crochet in the next 18 stitches across, okay? So skip 1 and then 1 single crochet into the next 18 stitches, like that. So we are simply keep on building on our framing. So you do in every corner 1 single crochet, chain 1, 1 single crochet, skip the next stitch, and then work a single crochet in the next 18 stitches across. So do that for the remaining 3 sides, omitting the last 2 single crochets there that we did, and then fasten off with an invisible join to the second stitch, and join me for our round number 13. And now we have come to the part where it differs between the pillow and the blanket. So for the blanket, you will be working in this gorgeous softer color, and for the pillow, we are popping it up with some old pink, okay? So remember to double check the divider notes that comes before each round to make sure that you are working with the right color for your colorway, okay? So grab your yarn and then let's begin. So find yourself your chain 1 space, and into that we are working 2 half double crochets, and my first one will be a standing one. So 1 and 2, working around the chain 1 space and not in the stitch. Chain 1, and then work 2 more half double crochet around the same space. And I know it will be a little bit tight, but it will work, okay? Just scooch them aside. And then we're skipping the next stitch, and then we work 1 half double crochet across, so 19 half double crochets per side in total. Simply do 2 half double crochets, chain 1, 2 half double crochets around the same chain 1 space, skipping the next stitch, and then work 1 half double crochet across the side, which should be 19 by now, okay? And then just repeat for all 3 sides that are left, and close with an invisible join to the second stitch. And that's it for round number 13. For our 14th and second to last round, we are creating this lovely texture, this lovely framing, simply by doing back post stitches around the half double crochets from our previous round. So what they will do is simply lean our V shapes forward and creating this lovely, lovely frame. Can you tell? It's absolutely stunning. So simply grab the color of the yarn that you have used for the framing, and then let's begin. So in any given chain 1 space, begin by placing 3 single crochets in it. My first one is a standing one. So 1, 2, and 3. That's our new corner. And now you do a back post half double crochet for each stitch across. So 23 in total. And what you do is you yarn over, go around the stitch from the back, over the front and back to the back again, grabbing the yarn and pulling it back to the back. Simple as that. And then you yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, like that. So it's just like a normal half double crochet. The only way it differs is where you place it. So instead of going into the stitch, you go from the back around to the back, grabbing the yarn, pulling it back to the back, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops, okay? So just keep on doing this for the entire side. And the first ones are always the trickiest. After a few, this will be smooth sailing, okay? So this is how it's supposed to look when you have finished one side. So you have 3 single crochets in the corner chain 1 space, and then 1 back post half double crochet for each stitch across, 23 in total. So, and you can already see the difference, I mean, between having flat stitches that are being worked in, and then you have these back posts that just frames and lifts it up. Super cute. So do that for all 4 sides, and then close with a slip stitch to the first stitch, and then we're ready for our final little round. Well done. I hope you're having lots of fun. See you in a little bit. Oh my, it looks absolutely stunning. Don't you think this round makes all the difference? I mean, it's just, it makes it all pop, and it's super, super cute. Ah, so much fun. So let's begin our very last round of the Thumbelina Square. So to begin, you simply do a standing half double crochet in the stitch that you're in, the first single crochet of a corner, and then you do another one in the same place, like that. So that first single crochet should hold 2 half double crochets, and then you chain 2, and then you skip the next one, the center single crochet, and into the third one here you do 2 more half double crochets, like that. And then you simply put 1 half double crochet in each stitch across the side. So 23 in total, not counting the corner space. So this is how your finished side will look. You will have 2 half double crochets in the first single crochet of a corner, then you chain 2, skip the next, and make 2 half double crochets in the third single crochet of the corner, and then you make 1 half double crochet in all stitches across to the next side, and then you just repeat. So do that and meet me up to close. So here we are. I have gone all the way around. It looks absolutely gorgeous. And so what I will do now is simply cut my yarn and fasten off with an invisible join to the second stitch, being my first real half double crochet. And then I simply weave in the ends on the back here where it holds the most stitches, because that is the best way to hide it. So do that and meet me up for some final words. And just like that, we have finished. Oh my, it's looking so adorable, don't you think? I just love both the blanket and the pillow version so much. And I hope you have enjoyed this, because if this is your week 3, you should have 2 of these when you finish. And if you're doing the blanket, you should have 2 of these as well. And then for week 6, we are making 3 more for the pillow and 2 more for the blanket, okay? So keep on crocheting, and please, if you like this tutorial, leave a little comment below, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel and turn the notifications on, because a new part is being released every Friday for 8 more weeks. So until next time, bye!